you can do recreational drugs. You can have a drink now and then, but you have to get back at it. You got to cleanse that out of there and get right back at it. And nutrition is so important. Like, look, we all like to have, the pizzas and the this and that. But at the end of the day, you have to monitor your blood, monitor your urine, and find out what you're deficient in, and get on it right away. Because, we can all. I mean, I'm a big sugar guy. Like candies and cookies and all that kind of stuff. But your body will allow you to have a certain amount of that, and then you got to get right back out of it and monitor that. Watch your sugar levels. Watch all these things, and like I say, you can stop all that. And I have got my body where I don't have arthritis anymore. I had a lot of arthritis. I've had rotator cuff surgery. I've had my nose be reconstructed. I have my knees redone, and all that stuff now. I don't have any pains, no aches or anything, because I put in the time, and we have medicines for this kind of stuff. And I'm a big component of getting off drugs, like you all these painkillers and that kind of stuff. But there's certain things, supplements you need. Like I'm on a testosterone therapy. I'm on, like, HRT, hormone replacement therapy, and there's certain things I do that I'm prescribed.
My dad went through cancer twice, and is like, he's 65, 70 years old, and his hormones were low. And I'm like, Dad, go look at what happens if you keep low hormones. Like, understand the science. And he's a biochemist, so he researched a little bit. He understood it. Sure. He went to his doctor. He said, "This is what I need. Sure. What do we do?"
Yeah.
So, what's the goal in the future? Like, you love the science side of it and making impact and change the world. I think that you're a lot of added value from what I see to the world is going to be a lot of what you do with medical, with, like what you're creating, out of the country with.
Yeah. And just recently, and I don't know the specifics of the laws, but they've done, we don't have the right approach to stem cells here in this country. And I'm in the process of taking some very, very bright. It's one girl that works for me. She studied with Harvard and MIT in the stem cell department. There's this exosomes thing that I don't know a lot about, but stem cells and this type of therapy, I think, is the future. And I think we can. I have a dear friend of mine that I raced with. He's a quadriplegic, and I think one day, if we can keep him alive, we can get him to walk through stem cell therapy and other methods of that we have, but we don't. For some god awful reason, politicians have got their fingers in this, and we've eliminated. So I'm going to another country to set up a research facility there to bring in these people who really focus on stem cell therapy and also addiction therapy. There's drugs that we can't use here in this country. They're totally illegal that can address addiction. And so it would be my pleasure to see one day that if we can get data. We talked about data with Andrew this afternoon. It's all about data, and facts. And so if I can get over there and maybe treat, again, it's expensive and whatnot, but we can get past that and treat and show sensible people, politicians and doctors, that these drugs work, and maybe we can put a big impact on this opioid.
Well, everything, right? Like,
addiction, alcoholism is a tough thing. Any type of addiction.
You guys, welcome back. I got a rock star on here. So let me ask you. So you were talking about significance breeds success, and you want to know a little bit about it.
Sure.
And we started this whole thing with a podcast. The idea was, or TED Talk originally, and then a podcast, and then I got a radio show, and the radio show is local, which is great in Miami, and it's great to be able to add value to life. But my challenge is I think a lot of people out there, they want more. They want to do more in life. And I just ask people for 1% of their wake time, which if they sleep 68 hours a week, give me like 1% of your 100 hours to impact the world. Or you can live on purpose, which is whether you're working as a grocer or you're working as a CEO, it doesn't matter what it is. I stopped, my son and I, we were walking on the beach last week, and a guy's picking up trash, a city worker. And I looked at him, I said, hi, I said, good morning. And I turned to my son, I go, and I'm holding him, and I'm like, this is one of the most important jobs in the world. Yeah. Because it keeps the world clean. There's people that add so much value, which they never get recognized.
I agree.
And it's like those little things. Like my dad taught me at 12 years old to, he rolled up his sleeves and he owned a little company, and he makes the ink for golf balls. I told you about that.
Yeah, right.
And the Philips light bulbs and different things. And he rolled up his sleeves and he brought me in the bathroom and he showed me how to clean the bathroom and the toilets at 12. Yeah. And so I didn't understand the concept when I was that young, because I don't remember if he explained it really well. But then he put me with every manager in his company. And he showed me how to basically run every division.
Wow.
Or at least what to do in every division.
Sure.
And he started building me that way. So it's interesting now, as I told him, hey, I'll partner with you on the next gen on what you're doing. He's in Oregon, I'm out here. And I'm like, do you want to just come out here and you can retire and I'll retire you? Like, just come out. I'll pay you to work for my company. Like, and come impact our kids, because he's so purpose driven. He was always he was about serving his employees. He's about serving his community. He's about being a part of the church. He's
Beautiful
about
man.
everything.
Yeah.
So,
Beautiful man.
And then he got cancer twice and it hurt. And I think he was just listening to the regular doctors versus getting maybe a holistic, outside point of view. So we started just to add value. I think most people are taught to go be successful, but at the end of the day, people have so much success extrinsic, like all the boats and all this and all, like. Yeah. But it doesn't fulfill you. I guarantee you it will not fulfill you. You always want a bigger boat.
And you always want a bigger boat, and then you want more and more and more, and then all of a sudden you come to a point in your life, you go, God, I got all this stuff. I got this stuff, and it's wearing out, and it's sitting there, and I got to use it, and I don't.
You got to fix it. You got to pay for insurance.
Pay for it, and you got it sitting there, and I've gone through that. I was collecting cars at one time. I had 40 some cars.
Oh my gosh!
And you just all this stuff, and you just like, Jesus, just stuff. And I think one of the things that I notice in this, I call them millennials, and what's this new generation, Z or Z, whatever it is they all focus on what that guy's got, not who that person is.
Yep.
And I think that's important. I think it's important for us to try and, listen, millennials are smart people, and they got. We have this beautiful internet thing that brings us so much value, but boy, the social media has turned into just such a mess. And one of the things that a project I'm working on was, because of the death of my mother, was called My Message, and my message is something Mike and I are working on. My vision is that you have a vault, and in that vault you have messages. For instance, you as a parent, you might be driving down the road and you say, son, I just want you to know that I love you very much, and if I'm not here, obviously you've got this message. So you get where I'm going with this, right? So you're storing messages in there that if something was to happen to you tomorrow, you get killed in a car accident, or God forbid you have a heart attack or whatever, that vault then goes open. You've got it all set up. That vault goes open.
It's impactful
to your survivors, or where you want that to go. It only goes to where you want it to go. So and then it has your will and messages to the people that are important to you in your life. So you might be driving down the road and you just send a message to your sister. Hey sis, if you're getting this message, I'm obviously not with you anymore, but I want to know you. I loved you, or it might be a message to somebody you can't talk to while you're alive, whatever it is, and it'll kick in after you're gone. And
you could do hundreds of these over years, right?
Yeah, and not only that, you can archive. Like I remember my grandfather was an old Swede and a hardworking, backbreaking, broke horses and sawmills and all kinds of stuff. And I would sit on the end of his bed as a child and just listen to stories he'd tell about coming from Sweden and breaking horses and having barn dances and just living life. And they were just fascinating stories. Well, we didn't have phones back then. We didn't have iPhones, or and so those stories were never written down, or they're never archived. So I can't tell you. All I can do is barely remember some of those things. I was a kid. Now we can record those things and we can archive them. So that information they'll never go away. So 100 years from now, you'll be able to share that information with your family. That's one of the aspects of this thing. So I've been working on this thing for 5-6 years. When my mother passed away, she had a message that says, I don't want a funeral, and she was cremated, and I just want my ashes buried with my brother. And my sister, I just have one sibling, my sister, and we thought, geez, that looks kind of bad on us not having a funeral. So we waited, it was Canada, and we waited till the spring, and then we had a celebration. So we rented a hall in a hotel, and we had a lunch, and we had people come in and got up and spoke about the relationship they had with my mother.
Yeah.
And it was funny, and then we played music, and people got up and told stories about my mother I didn't even have any clue about. But everybody left there with a smile on their face, and they felt, like they said the proper goodbye. And I thought, why isn't everybody doing that? We go to these, we go to funerals, and we sit there and we cry, and we're wearing black, and it's celebration. And it's difficult. I just lost a dog I had for 13 and a half years, and that dog was with me every single day for 13 and a half years, and it was painful, But I just had to stop myself and go, I have to celebrate the fact that I had no control of it. The dog's life was over. But I had a great time. I celebrated his life, And I think we sometimes get caught up in, at the end of the day, it's kind of self-pity, but we have to mourn to some degree. I've gone through, I lost a wife in a car accident, and I lost both my mother and father, and I've lost several friends, and I lost friends in racing. And we think of ourselves instead of thinking how blessed we were to be with them. How blessed we were to have been in those people in our life. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is a little platform that I'm working on. It's called My Message. It will let us express that a little more, and show that it was good. And I don't know what the impact will be, but to say goodbye, if when I pass away, that goes viral, that I can send a message to whoever I wanted about whatever I wanted to say to them, Yeah. And there might be people that want to get something off their chest, and it will make that person a better person now that I'm gone, whatever. I just think we don't talk enough about death. And again, I was just saying in our first segment, we don't never have to die, but some people die, some people don't have to die, but we never talk about that, and it's just part of our world, and we don't celebrate when we lose somebody enough as I think we should,
I think people fear to die,
sure,
but it's guaranteed to most people.
Yeah.
Like technology is one thing right now,
yes,
but at the end of the day, I think people's minds, you said this to me, which was very impactful, and I agree. I think two things. Number one, people live to die.
Sure they do.
So, and number two, they fear death, but that's the one thing guaranteed as humans right now, which makes life so valuable to some extent.
Yeah.
So I would love to live longer. It's super fun. I can live my purpose for a lot longer and impact.
But in some ways, it's out of your hands. You do your best you can to live.
Yeah.
But you don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And we don't know what happens beyond. So we can't dwell on it. But we just have to keep in the back of our mind, tomorrow might be the end, or I might get out of here and a car runs me over, or a plane crashes into or whatever. I have a heart attack.
I don't even think of that though.
Well, you don't have to think about it. No, of course not. But no.
Some people do though,
listen,
all day, right?
I had 2 heart attacks. And,
wow.
And, I had 2 heart attacks, and when the last one I had, I thought this is it. This is over. It was so painful, and I was laying there just.
Were there people around?
Well, it happened at home, but I drove myself to the hospital. I knew it was happening, and so it was so painful. But I thought, this, because it was the second one, I thought, this is probably the end.
Wow.
And so yeah, you obviously when you think about when you've experienced that, and then like I say, I've literally watched people die. I watched my father die. I watched my mother die. Like my wife was killed in a car accident. So
wow.
you when you're experienced with that, it comes to mind. Every now and then you think, and that's why I embrace life as much as I do. But again, I also know that I've lived a good life, and I want to continue living. I want to live forever. But at the end of the day. One of the other things, issues, like for instance, I only have one sibling left. My mother and father are both gone, and I have land here and stuff there and bitcoins and all of this, and I have nothing written down. If I was to die tomorrow, my sister would have a mess. And this way, it was in that vault. It was all set up in there, everything there. Bang. It's all written there. It knows where all my assets are. It knows what my credit card gives. My cat needs to get fed. My bird needs to on and on. And think about this. Think about
your tortoises.
Yeah, my tortoises. Yeah, but think about somebody has a cat, and
Yeah.
they live in an apartment and they get killed in a car accident. The cat